From inside, two figures who had only been the subject of speculation finally emerged together, Soo Kai and Tan Songyun. There was no announcement, no clarification, just a quiet moment that instantly exploded across the world. The crowd erupted in an uproar. Photographers jostled for the perfect shot. But what stunned everyone wasn't just their presence, but what they were wearing. The colors of their outfits were so harmonious, as if designed to complement each other. It wasn't mere coincidence, but a message that felt too clear to ignore. Soo Kai stepped out first, his expression calm yet confident. His gaze swept over the crowd, but seemed to search for only one figure beside him. When Tan Songyun got out of the car, she took her time. Her movements were gentle, graceful, and controlled, as if she knew every eye was on her. In an instant, the two stood side by side. There was no overt touch, no dramatic gesture. But that was precisely where their power lay. The small distance between them felt more intimate than an open embrace. The world read an unspoken language. Fashion observers reacted immediately. The colors they had chosen were not their usual neutrals. It was a palette rarely used coincidentally in a single event, let alone by two different individuals. Every detail, from the fabric cut to the tiny accents, seemed like part of the same story. Social media exploded in seconds. A short video of their arrival spread like wildfire in a dry field. Comments poured in non-stop, and theory after theory emerged from every corner of the internet. Many called it a wordless confession. But even more intriguing were their expressions as they walked toward the venue. Soo Kai occasionally glanced at Tan Songyun, a faint smile barely visible on camera. Meanwhile, Tan Songyun maintained her composure, but her eyes held something warm. Their steps were in sync, as if rehearsed countless times. Yet, it was precisely the small imperfections in the rhythm that made it feel real. Not staged, not a performance, but a living moment. Journalists tried to elicit a reaction. Questions were fired from all directions, but no verbal answers were given. Soo Kai simply nodded lightly, while Tan Songyun gave a polite, meaningful smile. Inside the venue, the atmosphere became more exclusive, but the whispers continued. Every guest who saw them seemed aware that they were witnessing something bigger than a fashion show. Many recalled their past interactions. Old interviews, behind-the-scenes footage, and even small moments previously taken for granted were reanalyzed. Everything felt like puzzle pieces finally finding their place. Celebrity relationship experts called this moment the boldest soft launch. No words, no official statement, yet its impact was far more powerful than any press conference. What made it even more captivating was how the two maintained their professionalism. They didn't let this moment distract from the main event, but instead added layers of meaning to their presence. Amidst the glittering lights and glitz, there was something deeply personal, as if the world were merely a backdrop for a more intimate story between the two of them. As they sat side by side in the front row, the camera again captured small details. The way Soo Kai tilted his body slightly toward Tan Songyun. The way Tan Songyun glanced away briefly before returning her attention to the runway. It may all seem trivial, but in the world of celebrity, small details are everything. And that night, every detail spoke volumes. Speculation continued to grow. Was this the beginning of an official confession? Or would they keep the public guessing? No one knew for sure, and that's what made this story all the more intriguing. What was clear was that the night had changed perceptions for many. The relationship, previously only rumored, now felt like it had taken shape, even if it was still vague. When the event ended, they didn't rush to leave. They walked out at the same pace they had arrived, calm, controlled, yet meaningful. The camera captured the final moment as they got into the car. The door closed, and it was as if the world had turned again. But something had changed. In one night, without a single word spoken, Soo Kai and Tan Songyun managed to create a moment that will live long in the memory. A silent statement that rang louder than any words. The car slowly pulled away from the crowd, but the echo of their presence only grew louder. Outside the venue, fans remained standing, staring out into the street, hoping to catch one last glimpse. Some even trembled, realizing they had just witnessed something that would likely go down in entertainment history. Inside the car, no one knew for sure what had happened, but the public's imagination was working non-stop. Many imagined a quiet conversation between them, perhaps a chuckle, or even the comfortable silence shared by two people who understood each other without needing to speak. Meanwhile, online, footage of the video was replayed. Every second was analyzed, every movement magnified. Some slowed down the moment when their hands almost touched. Others compared their expressions from various camera angles. No detail was too small to notice. Some longtime fans were moved. They recalled the journey of the two men's careers, from humble beginnings to this point. Seeing them standing together on a global stage like Milan Fashion Week felt like the climax of a long story that had been followed for years. But not all reactions were emotional. Some remained skeptical, questioning whether this was all just part of a meticulously orchestrated publicity strategy. In a calculated industry, such doubts are nothing new. Still, one thing was hard to deny: the authenticity of the moment. Nothing felt contrived. No gesture felt forced. Even in silence, the two exuded a connection that was difficult to fake. Industry analysts began discussing the long-term impact of this moment. Some believed it would open up new opportunities for the two, both individually and as a couple who might be seen together more often in the future. Meanwhile, the fashion brands they wore also received tremendous attention. The choice of matching colors, previously a minor detail, had now become a symbol talked about worldwide. It was proof that in the world of fashion, a single decision can create major ripples. And when the evening finally ended, one thing was clear: this was more than just an arrival at a fashion show. It was the beginning of a new chapter filled with mystery, speculation, and possibility. A story that had barely begun, but already had millions eagerly awaiting its continuation. The next day, international media outlets covered the moment, not just as entertainment news, but as a cultural phenomenon that demonstrated how a single appearance can shake public perception. Photos of the two of them side by side became the most shared images, as if representing something bigger than just being together. Behind the scenes, industry insiders began to move quickly. Collaboration offers, event invitations, and even potential joint projects began to emerge. Their names were now not just mentioned separately, but almost always side by side, creating a new dynamic that had never been so strong before. Fans formed their own narratives. Some compiled old moments, connecting previously separates. Others wrote lengthy theories, trying to decipher every hint that the casual eye might have missed. All of this created a wave of excitement that continued to grow. But amidst all the noise, one thing remained at the center of attention: how the two would respond going forward. Would they choose to speak out and confirm what many believed, or would they maintain the silence that had become their trademark? And perhaps that's the beauty of this story. In a world full of open statements and instant clarifications, Soo Kai and Tan Songyun chose a different path. They left the world guessing, letting the moment speak for itself. And in doing so, they created a story that feels far more alive, more mysterious, and more unforgettable.